Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, the ESL Pro Tour European Cup Finals. Here in the second week. Two players you should know. Thank you, Jimmy. The reigning champion from Mouse Sports. And I feel like he's been on Mouse Sports since forever. But from Mouse Sports, the biggest of Gabes, it is Heromarine. And in the bottom right, the captain, the Dutch Protoss player on Team Asterion. It's Harstem. Protoss versus Terran. I'm excited to see how Heromarine is shaping up in this new year of StarCraft, already winning the very first ESL Pro Tour Cup. And can he have a repeat performance? Best of 5 means we get some more opportunities to watch these guys. Nothing fancy yet. The meta of Reaper versus walling off against the Reaper versus whether or not even building a Reaper. The little mini games at the start of PvT have shifted pretty dramatically in the last few months, and by that I mean players not walling off against Reapers. And also, Terran players just not building Reapers. So, will Reapers come back at some point? Who knows? But, for now, Heromarine sticking with his trademark. The Heromarines. CV Scout going across. Not particularly early, just looking to see the expansion timing. More than likely. Will we see some mech against Protoss? A few players have been trying it to limited success. TY notably against Neeb. And Neeb looking like he really didn't know where to go with it. That probe is going a little bit of a suspicious. This is... So, a lot of players have been building, like, pylons to scout for starport units. Which feels like another entirely mini-game in and of itself. Remember the era of, well, that probe going to be shut down by a single Marine. The Marine is scouted. That's a bit of a giveaway in and of itself. But remember the times of playing Find the Widowmine or Hide the Widowmine? All the creative ways, like we're going to hide it behind the dish of the command center or right next to the mineral patch or behind the refinery, all those exciting things. Nowadays, we're playing Find the Starport units. Every once in a while, you get a good old-fashioned game of Find the Widowmine. Ooh, those Marines boxing out. Just the fact there's more than one Marine is a little bit of a giveaway. This is mildly awkward. I think Harstem kind of surprised that there wasn't really anything spotted there. We're going to dance back and forth. That looked weird. Mule dropping down. It is a robotics facility, probably the safest openers, honestly, on both sides. As robotics facility doesn't really give you a lot of options unless you want to do some sort of gateway prism all in. Doesn't give you a lot of aggressive options as a Protoss, but you get observers, you got access to immortals, and that prism, which is good in all scenarios. Whereas Heromarine is going for a tank. I don't think that tank is just going to sit at home. I feel like this is more of a, I'm going to put together a tank timing. As when you don't go Reaper, you have no idea what the Protoss. You just got to take your guesses. When he spots an observer, whether he scans it and kills it or just notices it's there, he's going to know. Did he? Tell me he didn't just know it. He's not that good. Going to pick up the Marines. Did he just spot it? Pretty sure he just spotted it. But, I mean, what are you going to do about it now? Is there any energy for scan? There is, actually, so. The medevac was spotted out. Harstem moving into position to try to shoot it down, but it's boosted past twice now. Harstem a little off the mark on the timing. I think he's kind of surprised it just went straight here as well. Marine just going to drop out. The rest of the army's moving out as well. Some Tacti boys. Just a couple for repair, maybe building a bunker. Heromarine pulling back the medevac. Maybe gonna try to... Okay. Oh. Wow, trying to have his cake and eat it, too. Medevac heading towards the main. The Stalkers. Whoa! Ugh! Oh, this was a bit of a dicey drop, but it does draw units out of position to potentially do damage with the tanks. The tank's not even going to siege. The SCV's here for repair. How did this medevac make it out? Heromarine. The biggest balls. That medevac shouldn't be alive. These two bunkers making things very difficult. There's no upgrades on the Marines. Viking on the ground, but a single Zealot going to help out a lot. That was the only super pilot. How is this... This army shouldn't have been anything. But with the Marines and the medevac coming together, like, you can't just lose this base. That's not acceptable. He's got to go before the bunkers finish. The tanks targeting the Immortal. Doesn't even get the first tank before the Immortal goes down. Both bunkers complete. This has become one of the most cost and effective breakouts. Assuming he does break out, of course. He saves the Nexus, but Heromarine making him out. Oh, come on. That's just not very nice. Okay, he's throwing him a bone. He's gonna let him kill the medevac. Alright. Very nice of Heromarine, because otherwise that was just a little disrespectful. Stalker's just gonna walk up. They're going to meet and greet with the tanks, take a few hits. They get the tank, but we do have to continually ask at what cost. So keeping the base alive. How many probes? Not really many probes. Harstem just stopped building probes rather for a bit. As, well, you probably should if you're about to lose your Nexus. A bit of an awkward start, but he's added on a bunch of gateways. The Templar Archives is done. Charge is complete. +1 armor done as well. A whole bunch of racks coming up here. Marine didn't take a third behind this. So that means Harstem can eventually take advantage of his. Still, way more than should have been done. Barracks on the way. That's not a barracks. That's a base. But there are barracks on the way as well. It's just not what I was trying to point out. So, for Harstem, he doesn't have Storm coming up. He doesn't have, like, double splash damage action. He does have a third going on a fourth. Heromarine is playing it nice and slow. He's making sure he has the tanks. There's no real chance. Like, there are 4 tanks. You're not breaking this on the ground without a dramatic spread of damage. There's the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism always a big kicker. That really is the thing that can draw the Terran out of position, allows you to break in. Still a big gamble. And the fact he hasn't, well, are more units coming up from Warpins? Immortal? Archon? Where are you going? Where's everybody going? Everybody's going home. It appears Harstem has decided not to try to break through. He's starting to realize how, well, he has vision of every tank. So, gonna redirect. It's just gonna be pretty costly. A Templar is spotted. 4th Command Center immediately starts for Heromarine. He's already got a Ghost Academy on the way. And the Observer sniped off in the split second before it's able to retreat from the scan. Some Zealots out for vision. Harstem zoning out well. But the big risk here is those upgraded Ghosts. Like with that, if you don't have a Robo-Bay or a significant upgrade advantage, not like which Harstem does not have, then the upgraded Ghosts in the hands of someone like Heromarine, yeah, sure, his Marines are good, but Ghosts are better. Enhanced Shockwaves means most of your army going to be left without shields and self-esteem. There is a Storm in a moment. Is there Blink done? Heromarine just chopping up Zealots here. +2 armor, not quite done yet. In fact, he just got a few freebies. I think Heromarine noticed. Another double drop. He's not risking a Oh no, the Prism is just taken out. The Warp, like he just sent a Viking into what would be a safe location. In fact, that Zealot draws friendly fire into 6 SCVs, so a little bit of counter damage. Nope, what? Rotten Templar! Heromarine taking small risks with the drop, but not big ones until he's maxed out with the units he needs. Harstem playing kind of timid out on the map. You don't, obviously, with that many tanks, you're not realistically going to attack in. That's what the Prism was for. Oh no. 1. He gets an Archon merge off. But the target fires there. 3 Templar gone just like that. And the Nexus itself. Oh, Heromarine holding his ground. Okay, he's decided that maybe this isn't the best option. A little bit out on the map. It looks like Scouting Marine's taken out. The drop in the main. Blink isn't done yet, but I don't think it's going to be necessary. 4th Command Center has landed. I don't think a single Zealot is going to force it to lift off, but some of the reinforcement's going to go down and deal with it. In fact, if Heromarine commits his entire army down there, that opens up a lot of the map for Harstem to potentially move in. Harstem is maxed out. The medevacs were eventually taken out. Dark Shrine on the way, +2. +2 armor is already done, +2 weapons on the way. Heromarine only has 1-1. Does he even have an armory? He does. He's just now starting +2, so I was talking about upgrade advantages. Now Harstem's starting to get a bigger one. This is a dangerous army. The EMP's super important. Not landing quite yet. He's looking for it. A big storm. He EMPs 1 Templar. There's still a couple protected in the Prism. Feedbacks, but there's a whole bunch of ghosts here for Heromarine. Zealots are split off. Big drop in the back of the natural. But Zealots split off and kill 24 SCVs before the fighting even really begins. Harstem getting drawn in a little. Now the wall will keep most of the rest of the Zealots out, but the counterattacking double drop, he's going to have to pick up and get out. He doesn't actually recall that many units enough to force this away. So Harstem doing a whole lot of economic damage, but he eats a little himself. The Templar Archives still intact. The upgrades are going to become a bigger factor as the economies get lower. Harstem's closing in on +3 armor and +2 attack. There's still 2 Templar in that Prism. There's still 2 Templar in that Prism. That can change games. The Planetary kind of killed almost by default here. Heromarine a little slow on the draw, and now he's getting Colossi, which are a much better counter to Ghosts than praying you don't get EMP'd. The medevac count is low, and the energy count even lower. There is no recall. Some Zealots have to trickle back in past an uncomfortable amount of buildings. 13 more SCVs went down with that Planetary, but Heromarine, he's got a strong Terran army, and he has the unit composition. Well, that's not where the Liberators want to go. A couple Ghosts kind of just die. EMPs. I don't know if he realizes where most of the army is, but Harstem's maxed out. Might as well try to pick a fight, get another warping. He can drop on top. EMPs do not land. Heromarine forced back. He only has so much bio left over. There's still some storms intact. A single Liberator finds some probe kills, but Harstem gonna crush the army in the center of the map, and with it, takes game 1. Heromarine playing, he was just slow. He just did not get into position. He didn't defend his 4th. The EMPs weren't really there in any of the initial fights, losing a whole bunch of SCVs. You're not going to get away with that. Harstem, I was a little afraid that he would be, not asserting himself on the map, but he didn't back off all the way. He backed off a little just to make sure he didn't get caught. We're going into game 2. Harstem with a pretty comfortable victory there at the end. Once again, this is from the ESL Pro Tour European Finals, the Open Finals number 2. Heromarine going to have to put some more together. I feel he didn't take advantage of the first attack as well as he could have. He could have had a 3rd command center quicker. The Liberators were pretty late on the draw. He didn't really push out with his Ghosts until he had already lost his 4th, which means you're kind of forced. Like Harstem knows where you're going. He kills your 4th and 25 SCVs. Here comes the Terran, and that gives you plenty of time to line up storms. So, now, very important. Is Storm OP, YouTube commenters, Twitch chatters? Should Storm be removed from the game? Is whenever a Storm lands an affront to you as a person, a player, and a member of a free-thinking and civilized society? You tell me. I'm definitely not just trying to stir up things in order to drive up engagement. No! It's a very important question. Harstem, what are you doing? What's this probe up to? That's a suspicious lead time pylon. As the Cybercore is only halfway done, he is taking a Nexus, so he's showing macro. There is a Reaper on the way. Heromarine just going to build on the high ground. There was no probe scout, right? Well, this is one of the oldest tricks in the book. A proxy Stargate. Now, how much will Heromarine be able to figure out? Because, of course, the expansion is nearly done. That's a normal timing for that. If he sees, well, where's your second pylon? Harstem's not going to miss his second pylon, all right? That's not going to happen. So how suspicious will Hero... Why is there a probe? How did this... So this probe is in here. I believe that was the probe that built the Stargate, by the way. So far, no obvious giveaways. The Reaper gets in. It's now scouted most of the main, and it's going to be very suspicious. Excuse me, sir. He saw all the locations. You should be building another pylon. And there is no pylon there. There was no pylon there. And no tech. So that is a bit of a giveaway. The first Oracle comes in. It's going to rack up one kill. So that is intensely underwhelming. You really are hoping for more than that. Ideally, you combine maybe with some Adept Shades or, I don't know, whatever else you can get a feel for. We'll see if Harstem decides to wall off the mineral wall. Of course, then with a whole bunch of mineral walls, a bit of a clunky map to get around. The Oracle's just going for the Marines, having a good time with it, but the Viking comes out. Very fortuitous for Heromarine. So, that Viking going to shut things down for now. There's a Hellion block in the third. One Oracle went down with it, by the way. A Phoenix being built. Reaper gonna scout the entirety of the main. It might even be able to leave. Which, okay. It will die now. But he sees no dramatic tech transition. In fact, it looks like he's gonna see that there's no gas at the natural as well. Phoenix is completing. Multiple Phoenix. I mean, why not? Phoenixes are great units. You have a Stargate. You got to use it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with Gateway units. And Gateway units just not that good. So, a couple kills out of the Hellion. And another scout. This one spotted the Robo, right? Yeah. He's now walled off the front. Harstem has to figure out what is the actual army I'm building. Like, what is... Is there a Widow Mine in here? I don't... Oh, there. Dun, dun, dun. Very sneaky. I think Harstem knows there's an option for that. Oh, does he spot? Oh, no. Ooh, that splash damage hits almost every unit. And immediately Heromarine untucks the Widow Mine and brings it back to safety. Won't even be losing that. So that's an unfortunate start. Harstem not going to find much. He killed one SCV. It's not incredible. Robo Bay, Forge, Immortal. The thing is, Heromarine, he's going to have 3 tank. Well, actually, he just started stamina. I was a little afraid that this Robo Bay would not come online. In fact, Harstem's going to go ahead and just get everything. Robotics Bay, Twilight Council, Forge, plenty of probes, observers, and he's relying entirely on these Stargate units keeping track of what Heromarine is up to. They should be able to, of course, but once Heromarines production comes together, will there be enough from Harstem to contest it? You can't be scaled. Like, you can't just be building a bunch of gateway units on every warpin when you need tech. But at the same time, you got to be careful you don't reach too far, or then they just come over and punch you in the face. Tank Raven pushes have killed many a Protoss before. I'm sure Harstem knows. That Viking tried to drop to the ground in relative safety, but did not get there in time. Why are you here, probe? Go home. I think it was scouting for, well, what the Phoenixes ended up scouting. But it's decided its work here is done. This observer maybe will be remembered. Actually, if a drop goes out, it'll probably go by it. The Phoenixes and Oracles still keeping track of things, but still hasn't done much. The Colossus is spotted. A Forge? I don't know, like, is +1 done? Heromarine might not realize that's his second Forge. Oh. Widowmine almost connects. But Heromarine has 60-something SCVs. He's now got medevacs. He's got combat shields and +1. There's really no reason to sit at home unless you want to play passive the rest of this game, at least until you're maxed out. 5 tanks. Charge isn't yet done for Harstem. He knows he's got to get out ahead of this. Ideally, killing the Raven. Killing the Raven would be, and keeping the Phoenixes alive would be the best case scenario here. Charge is done. Extended thermal lance and +1 armor on the way. Harstem, until he gets those things, he's still going to be in a relatively tough spot to engage the army. Heromarine, not feeling confident. A big revelation will reveal where that army's moving. +1 armor, still 11 seconds out. There's no pylon at this base to help warp in quickly. Meanwhile, Liberators are sieging up. They could draw some of the Phoenixes back or do a lot of damage. Heromarine giving himself so many options. The Liberators starting to unload. Indiscriminate freedom all over these bases. 9, 10 probes, 11 probes. A whole lot of damage already. Harstem down in workers. He's got the 4th. But so many things are still vulnerable. The Phoenixes are now out of position. Does Heromarine turn around and continue the attack? 13 probes. Just whip a couple Liberators out, keep them distracted, and there you go. Now Heromarine going to vary his tactics. The Observer is almost in position to spot this, but Heromarine sees no reason to take the scenic route. Storm is on the way. There are some Phoenixes. If they were in position, this could go great. They just aren't. He's not going to risk it here. Harstem doesn't see it. The map is dark and full of Terrans. 4th Nexus is spotted enough of the army to know he's over here. Phoenix is looking for something. Not going to find anything, but will he realize how little of the army? Okay, the wall actually throws the Marines to an awkward position and gives Harstem the chance to deal with this. You got to be careful not to split off the entire army. I know. Oh no. The bile. He just used a warp in of Zealots. Harstem has to be super careful not to get baited. That was almost terrible. 2-2's on the way. 1-2 for Harstem. He's really going to be working off that heavy tech, relying on multiple forms of splash damage. Oh, did he spot the medevacs there? Kind of an awkward situation. Like, you get moving around these Zealots is... it appears Heromarine was killing his own refinery, which is not an ideal play. Recall is off cooldown, and that, I think, will become a very big factor here very soon. Meanwhile, just on top of all the tanks, the bio is tucked into the back. Are there more Templar? There's still some tanks, a couple auto turrets, interference matrix on the Archons. Down goes the Prism. Colossus took the wrong turn. Suddenly, wait a second, he has to recall to the 3rd, but down goes the Templar Archives. 20 SCVs with that. Not the end of the world for Heromarine. He still takes a good fight. Harstem tried to cut through, but it wasn't enough. This bio army gonna get out after sniping the Templar Archives. I don't even know if Harstem realized it was taken out. He's starting to flail a little, trying to catch up to what Heromarine's doing. Has to get back into position at his 4th base, but at the same time, the double drop's still a threat in the main. 1-2. Right now, Heromarine has 2-1 done. Working on 2-2. There's a lot in this army. Couple Colossi at the back. Tank taken out. Double drop into the main. Sees the charge lots. Finds another location. Harstem still zoning out pretty well. Scan spots the army, and he's still going to continue forward. Are the EMPs there? Does not have enhanced shockwaves for the Ghost. Makes it a little harder to land those EMPs. He doesn't have much energy on the Raven. Big Storm zones things out. That Templar playing a dangerous game here. Speaking of which, he did rebuild the Templar Archives, but recall is off cooldown, and this bio army just keeps cutting through everything. Enhanced shockwaves on the way. Harstem is moving entirely out of position. Heromarine's bringing everything together. Both sides maxing out. It all comes down to control in this fight. Because Heromarine... Oh, no! The EMPs! Stripping the Archons almost entirely. Is there even a single Templar with energy? I think it's just a Sentry. Almost, essentially no effective HP. An anti-armor missile! You're a wizard, Big Gabe! The spellcasting, near perfect. Some reinforcements coming in. More EMPs being utilized. The Colossus count brought down to 2. The tanks are target firing the Colossi as well. And suddenly, everything is gone. He rips it apart. Heromarine stems and wins. Well, the Archons are supposed to be the buffer. Like, the Archons are what keep you from just dying. But when the Archons have no shields, well, bad things happen. And that was shown there, very much so. Heromarine knocks it down. Storm not nearly enough. We're on to game 3. I think Heromarine really... Obviously, he's played Harstem before, but he was really exploiting how much Harstem reacted to the drops. Multiple times, Harstem was pulling back his entire army, leaving him vulnerable, because then you have to reorganize, you have to reset everything. So Heromarine just kept poking him, pulling him, and eventually he gets caught. Pretty early probe. I mean, probably off a gate there. I don't think he's going to proxy a Stargate again. That did... Like, the proxy Stargate did so very little. It did very little that a Stargate at home couldn't have done. Almost no worker kills. If you really want Oracles for Revelation, then why have it be vulnerable? It just didn't get him very much at all. Not that it was... It's not like it went terribly. It just... Heromarine wasn't having it. Marine first again. Going to be a gate expand out of Harstem. These players, I guess Proxy Stargate is a cheese, but he went gate expand into Proxy Stargate. So is that really a cheese? I mean... Leave it up to the people. What do you think? It's not a cheese if he doesn't kill 14 workers like it's the Heart of the Swarm beta. Remember when the Oracles... Didn't they start out as, like, something that could, like, clone a unit? But were replicants Oracles? There was something called the replicant, but I forget if it was, like, part of the Oracle. And then there was a time when we tested if the Oracles could, like, stasis mineral patches. And then they kind of were just like, well... Let's make StarCraft Brood War again and just add Stasis Ward, which is different slightly. Oh, and then there was also when you could manually trigger Stasis, and also stasis was indefinite, it never ran out, you could have technically an infinite amount on the map. Ah, the good old days. And Adepts also had like 40% more HP, unrelated. This is a Hellion drop rush. Because you don't, well, you get 4 Hellions quicker, then you can get a medevac out at home. So by the time you run the Hellions up, medevac, 1, closer to their base, and 2, is finishing just in time. This is about the cheapest mineral-heavy thing you can do that, if unprepared, can just straight up win against a Protoss. Harstem already making some allowances. He's got a pylon up here for scouting. How much has Harstem seen? He saw the reactor Hellions. There's gonna be a wall at the edge of the... Is he actually gonna go for a third? Okay, he's feeling confident. Well, okay, 3 gates in the main. What am I saying? Well, that's about as spotted as a Hellion drop can be. The thing is, here's the problem. There's only a few units. Like, the Hellions are still gonna find damage. Good force field, but... 3 kills. Oh no. Ooh, 5. 9. I'm great at counting. And he gets out. 10 kills. And guess what? But wait, there's more! A disaster for Harstem. He's losing so much. Are there even any units? He's sending a handful down. Oh my god. Well, Heromarine, he didn't quite target that last volley. I think a few more. Like, we were about 4 or 5 more probes away from a GG right there. That is really rough. A Liberator to follow it up. He's already killed 16 probes. And the thing is, he's only lost 4 Hellions. Make that 5. Oh. Don't make it 5. Don't you dare. What do you think you are, a bag caster? A bag caster would make it 5, just assuming Hellions are good. No. Behind this, Heromarine, adding on his production. Harstem is going to counter greed with even more greed. Oh my god, it's Widow Mines. Oh no. He's going to find some clumps. 6 kill. Oh no. Oh my. It doesn't end. Oh, he didn't target fire onto the probes here. He is now. Oh my god. 10 kill. Heromarine has slaughtered 26 defenseless probes. Why were they defenseless? This is... and oh my god, the medevac got out. Insult to injury. I don't even know if Harstem realizes the medevac lived. There was so much going on. Harstem went for the double upgrade. Like, if he hadn't taken any more damage, I don't mind this. When you add on the upgrades, you're really just banking on, well, you invested a whole bunch in harass. You invested a whole bunch in units, and he knows it was a proxy starport, at least for a time. You're investing a whole bunch in trying to kill my workers, and you killed some workers, but that means you're not going to have the production to put together an attack quite as early. So going for the upgrades, having a third base, this is something I can lean on. And then in comes round 2, getting 10 more probes and forcing out even more units. And I think that throws any calculation way off here. As the upgrades, well, +1 combat shields and stim all on enough for Heromarine. He has 4 tanks. He has 4 tanks. I don't think Harstem can really afford enough charge lots to deal with that. Like, the idea with charge lots is that tanks just take a while. They have a lot of HP, effectively. But once all these upgrades are done, there's enough buffer here. Now Harstem, he's only got 3 gas. He's getting the Templar Archives, kind of reminiscent of the Zeng game, but with worse economy. Is there an armory? Heromarine, no armory. He's moving out with a double drop. We've seen this a few times. Like, he's not going to commit his whole army, which, if this was Diamond League Angry Coach, I'd be like, you know you can walk across the map with your tanks. But Heromarine realizes correctly he has the economy and production, and unless he lets Harstem go for like 3-4 more minutes untouched, there's no risk of him catching up. Yeah, he spots the 4th Nexus. I think he's going to realize there's an observer here. I think this army was spotted, but there's not Blink. And there's only a handful of, like, 6 Stalkers, but you can't really risk them. Yeah, he realized. He remembered that the drop was spotted heading in the first time, and he's not going to let that happen again. Charge lots into the main, but the Viking... Oh, well, there goes the Prism, so it'll be 4 charge lots. That will be the total. Another double drop. I mean, same double drop. Where oh. Charge lots just... They'll get what they can get. Working in towards the north again. Scanning for observers. I'm not sure if he got... He's killed 3 observers this game, so I bet he picked up one there. This Liberator going its separate ways. And is there going to be anything to defend? Did he spot the Lib? He did. And Harstem's going to have to come back. Heromarine starting to do it again. He's starting to dictate the pace of the game and force Harstem to react. I mean, this entire game has been Harstem reacting to what he's doing. But the whole army coming back down, this is like, you can't make this mistake. The Zealots are with it. Like, that leaves open a wide open opportunity here. Thankfully, Heromarine not quite taking advantage of it. But the whole army came back, and that means, well, surprise! Behind the vision blockers. In fact, there's EMP as well. The Archons can be EMP'd. The Nexus already getting hit. No, it looks like he landed one. A Guardian Shield, a few charge lots counterattacking Heromarine, but he's okay for now. He should be okay against them. Well, they'll get on top of the mineral line. The Nexus is already under attack, though. The tanks are helping zone out any area between the Bio and the Nexus. The SCVs are pulled away from the 3rd. Archon trying to be targeted, but the Nexus does go down. Looks like the Bio cleaned up the counterattack. Heromarine grinding through. Look at the soup. Harstem having a rough go of it. More Archons. Archons are not going to solve it when your opponent has, well, enhanced shockwaves are done in 5 seconds. Not that he really needs them. The army, once again, deja vu, going to evaporate. No shields. Not enough upgrades. No hope. Heromarine takes 2 strong games after dropping number 1. And, as a professional, we are on match point. I can figure that out. Like, if Heromarine wins 1 more game, it's all over. So you know what that means. It's time for a quick advertising break. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will be right back. Alright everyone, welcome back. I'm Winter, and I'm here to talk to you about the ESL Pro Tour. From 2020 all the way up through 2022, the Electronic Sports League, I really hope that's what it stands for, or the Esports League, it doesn't really matter. The ESL and the Pro Tour will be putting on professional StarCraft 2 events. They'll also have events in Counter-Strike, as well as in Warcraft 3. So Roddy should be ecstatic right now. Not for the Counter-Strike. But for those who don't know, these events, if you haven't watched my video covering it, or the ESL's video, these events include a weekly cup every Sunday at 5 p.m. Europe, 5 p.m., 2 p.m. Pacific. Actually, you know what? I don't want to say it wrong. I believe it's either 2 p.m. Europe. Okay, now you've ruined it. Oh, edit this out. Edit it out. Anyways, if you like my coverage of these events, thank you to ESL for letting me cast these weekly cups and some of those IEM qualifiers coming up. And if you enjoy this video and this is on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. And in the description, if I remember to put it there, you will find a link to more information, which you unlock by liking and subscribing. You might be like, Winter, I'm on Twitch right now. Well, don't tell anyone this happened. We're going to edit it in post because that's something I do. Good luck, have fun, and good night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Heromarine is up 2-1 in the grand finals of the second ESL Pro Tour Weekly Cup. Harstem struggling against the early harass and late game pressure. In the bottom right, the biggest of Gabes representing Mouse Sports, Heromarine. And in the top left, for Team Asterion, it's Harstem. The Netherlands versus Germany. Protoss versus Terran. Big Gabe versus his subjects. These last two matches, well, especially Game 3, it feels like Heromarine is powering up. He's got a lot of, he's got to build up a lot of inertia before he gets going with such an incredible mass. But once he gets going, the power, the energy that his opponents don't have because of his EMPs and the damage he's able to deal out is absolutely massive. That's the problem with Terran players of this caliber. There's always something. Like, even if Harstem knew, and I think he had an idea about the Hellion drop, he saw it coming. But the Hellion still did a bunch of damage. He knows that Heromarine is going to go for that bio follow-up, but there's only so much you can do. It's less about what you're doing as a Terran player and more about how you're doing it. And that's what we saw. Like, even a single Liberator in the right place at the right time, distracting the army, catching him a little out of position, well, there you go. What are we doing this time, Harstem? Heromarine looking to become the Dynasty. The Dynasty. AKA the only champion of European ESL Pro Tour Cups. He would double his win count with this victory. It would be 100% more wins than he had last week. He would remain him undefeated in Pro Tour Cups. And by that I mean that would be 2 in a row. 2 out of 2. Did he spot the Robo? Yeah, he spotted the Robo. Oop, does the Shade actually get to the Reaper? No. Gets away in time. Reaper is some of the most annoying units in the game. I think everyone would agree. So what are you going to do with the Robo first? Quick Robo Bay? Are we going to see a Warp Prism play? Heromarine on the other side he's playing it real safe here. He's got Widow Mines. He's got a bunker. Not cutting any corners there. He spotted the Robo, which is very relevant. There's not going to be anything to shut down a Widow Mine drop. So not the least bit surprised to see that option. Yep, Medevac on the way. A good old-fashioned straight-up Widow Mine drop. Now, what is Harstem going to do next? He's taking a 4th Nexus. He is once again going to be relying on the low tech, but enough gateway units early with observers to have time to defend. It's been a rough road against Heromarine thus far, but if he can negate the first Widow Mine drop, this is a pretty big expense in both time and money. Ideally, you kill the mines and kill the medevac, but as long as you prevent damage and you're going for such a quick... I mean, look at the probe count. He's already up 10 workers, give or take. If you limit this to 2 or 3 probes and not having to run all your probes all the way across the map or running away from the mines, I think it's okay. The mine drop was spotted. There's plenty of time to react, but that doesn't mean... he's not going to come in for more, is he? Okay, 3 kills. Unfortunately, all the probes kind of took the pilgrimage to the natural. So, a significant amount of lost mining. But the medevac does get out. 3 probes do go down. A Reaper just going to come in, look for an opportunity as well. Heromarine always finding those options. He's going to get a couple kills. At least the one. No 3rd command center yet. Heromarine looking to line up another 2-base attack. It's become pretty common. It's kind of like the Book of Terran is you attack and expand. Unless you're Cure, in which case you just take a 3rd CC. But especially in TVP, not until you're putting on that pressure do you even think about taking a 3rd command center, because otherwise the Protoss is just going to have everything. You're going to have charge and double upgrades and 78 probes. Terrans have mostly learned, especially if you want to go bio, you gotta threaten at least relatively early on before the Protoss brings everything together. Is there a Raven? There is a Raven. Oh, he's going to use the Raven for a harass here. A drop going out. Heromarine splitting off a lot of groups of units. Okay. The Raven hasn't been spotted yet. A Warp Prism heading across the map. Storm is on the way. Harstem really invested in this 3-gas Templar play, which allows you a lot of extra mineral. Okay, he's got 4 gas. He's got one at the 3rd base here. The army at the front. Now, is Harstem noticing, there's not very many medevacs there. Meanwhile, drops down an auto turret. Harstem reacts. Drop headed towards the main. No reaction yet. That pylon powers so much important stuff! Heromarine will not be killing it for now. Another auto turret comes in. He's looking for every opportunity. Scans and kills an observer. Widowmine connects. Drop at the back of the 3rd. He's joining up all of his forces. Heromarine finds 6 probe kills. He's at the back of the 3rd. Suddenly he's evened up the worker count. Meanwhile, he's everywhere. Storm is done, but Heromarine easily splits, losing a couple. Ooh, that was a better Storm. But there's still Marines at the back. Heromarine sending reinforcements. Still energy on the medevacs. Gateway units are trickling through. And it looks like Harstem's going to hold. Meanwhile, the bio, well, this medevac did a lot of damage. Where did the Raven go? Raven being sent out again. 3rd command center, expand and attack. Attack and expand. Harstem eating some probe kills there, 15. So 12 on top of the early game. What are the upgrades? +1 armor. No +1 armor yet for Heromarine. I assume he'll be starting it now. No, auto turret harass. But now, kind of surprising. All right. He does maintain a significant... Whoa. Well, the splash damage makes those SCVs feel very stressed out. But it's not going to kill him. Adepts... No, not Adepts. Charge lots in the main. Plenty of Marauders involved here. A Warp Prism this time. Finally, a Warp Prism will escape. Harstem probably going to be looking for a 4th soon. But he has yet to fully secure his 3rd. Heromarine just pumping out so many units. That Zealot doing its part. Gonna spot the army moving across. Harstem. Oh, I don't actually know if he has enough units. How much energy? There's enough for an anti-armor missile as of right now. This is an awkward fight. Will he turn and fire the missile? a scan. Where are the Templar? I don't know, but there's a Widow Mine drop in the natural that nobody but Heromarine noticed, it seems. Wait, there's still a Widow Mine. Okay, yeah, that's not happening. 8 more probes go down. Harstem just keeps losing probes. He's bleeding probes out of everywhere. His main, his natural, his third. He's down to 51. Suddenly, the economy's looking super tough. Heromarine is no longer really obligated to do damage to Harstem because that threat of the Protoss army just out-teching the Terran is almost, well, the threat is almost gone. Once the ghosts come out, and especially with enhanced shockwaves, that makes all the difference. +1 armor, +2 armor's finishing up. Gotta be careful of Widow Mines. And there's definitely some Templar in that prism. Anti-armor missile, another storm. That one, not quite what he wanted. But more Templar at the back. Where are the EMPs? Where are the ghosts? They're not out in the front yet. +2 armor is done. Harstem pushing through, but Heromarine holding both fronts. He's got the high ground. The boys are bold. Anti-armor missile. One last storm. EMP on the Templar. Down goes the prism. Boys buffering. Heromarine up 60 supply. Is there any other damage on the table? He only lost 5 SCVs. Chases down the Templar. The army, like, down goes an Archon. Down goes the Zealots. Down go the Stalkers! Reinforcing Zealots have to run away immediately. Heromarine is tearing through everything. GG! Heromarine, your first 2-time victor of the ESL Pro Tour Weekly Cups. He takes it all the way home. 3-1. First game, a little shaky, but once Big Gabe got rolling, he kept rolling. Walking through, honestly, none of those last 3 games looking particularly close. So, Heromarine takes it home. Make sure to check out his stream. I don't know if he was streaming as well during it, but who knows with him. He's making all of us look bad. Thank you for watching my coverage of the EU Finals. Thank you to ESL for letting me cast and sending me replays and stuff that are relevant. Make sure to sign up if you feel you want to take on the biggest of Gabes or anyone else. Take your shot every week on Sundays. The ESL Pro Tour. If you enjoyed the cast, like and subscribe and comment. And I guess Storm isn't as OP as I thought. Nobody has ever said this. Nobody who ever said Storm is amazing has ever gone. Moving on. Thank you for watching. Good luck and have fun.